I open my mouth to the Lord, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end is going to be. I open my mouth to the Lord, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end is going to be. Sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down, to see what the end is going to be. But yet my soul is heaven towards bound, to see what the end is going to be. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, to see what the end is going to be. That saved a wretch like me, to see what the end is going to be. I open my mouth to the Lord, and I won't turn back. I will go, I shall go, to see what the end is going to be.
I open my mouth to the
I open my mouth,
Lord,
I open my mouth. To see what the end is going to be.
Good morning, everyone. Good evening, everyone, wherever you may be in the world. Welcome to this celebration on behalf of the Interfaith Harmony Week. My name is James Lynch. I'm one of the vice presidents of the Hawa Foundation of Peace and Reconciliation, as well as the current president of the Buddhist Council of New York. And with that, I say welcome. Before we commence, I just want to say something about what the World Interfaith Harmony Week is about. The World Interfaith Harmony Week is a UN resolution for a worldwide week of interfaith harmony proposed in 2010 by King Abdullah II and Prince Ghazi bin Mohammed of Jordan. The World Interfaith Harmony Week falls, of course, in the first week of February of every year and aims to promote harmony between all people, regardless of their faith. And with that, that's my brief opening remarks. I would like to introduce Bhante Praso Ratna Gauta, the president of the Sangakaya Foundation. Bhante?
James, I just heard that Bhante is on a traffic jam, so he could not come.
Okay, that's all right. Thank you so much. Things happen, so that's a beautiful thing. Thank you for letting us know. It's the arrangement. Well, the next remarks we were supposed to have were from Venerable Dr. Sobhita, the chairperson of the International Buddhist Education Center. Unfortunately, where he resides in Myanmar, the government cut off the internet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a statement that was prepared. So let me read it to you. World Interfaith Harmony Week, building bridges across boundaries. During this time of dramatic changes all over the world, we recognize the urgent need for dialogue, mutual respect, and cooperation for peace among religious and faith-based organizations. The quest for peace is the common aspiration of all people and a necessary prerequisite for development. The Universal Peace Federation is pleased to be celebrating World Interfaith Harmony Week in 2021 in support of the United Nations and towards building a culture of peace. World Interfaith Harmony Week, first proposed by King Abdullah II of Jordan to the United Nations, was proclaimed in the UN General Assembly Resolution A-Res 65-5, adopted on 20 October 2010. In the resolution, the UN General Assembly pointed out that mutual understanding and interreligious dialogue constitute important dimensions of a culture of peace and establish World Interfaith Harmony Week as a way to promote harmony between all people, regardless of their faith. In proclaiming this observance, the United Nations General Assembly encourages all states to use the first week of February to spread, quote, the message of interfaith harmony and goodwill in the world's churches, mosques, synagogues, temples, and other places of worship, based on love of God and love of one's neighbor, on love of the good, each according to their own religious traditions or convictions. In the World Interfaith Harmony Week inaugural program in 2011, Secretary General Ban Ki-moon eloquently expressed his support for the resolution, saying, quote, respect for diversity and peaceful dialogue are essential if the human family is to cooperate globally, to face shared threats and seize common opportunities, end quote, and pledged to, quote, work with people of all faiths to rise above the tensions and misconceptions that so often divide us and find the path of harmony and dignity for all. The theme for 2021 for the World Interfaith Harmony Week is building bridges across boundaries. All faith actors are encouraged to mark this week as an opportunity to bring people together for this noble purpose. Thank you for the wonderful statement. So with that, we're going to have a panel discussion, wonderful panel discussion. And that the moderator is going to be Dr. Lau Kek Young, PhD, is president of the World Alliance of Buddhists Regional Center, United Arab Emirates, chairman of the Helping Hands That Help Humanity Humanitarian Initiatives Program, senior director, diplomatic and foreign affairs of the United Nations Peacekeeping Force Council, and director of ASEAN of SP Muda, International Organization for Peace and Development. Dr. Young, I welcome you. Thank you for being here. You're muted, Doctor. Doctor, we can't hear you. You have to mute yourself. That's all right. That's the beauty of technology.
Oh,
Thank you.
completely forgot about that. Thank you very much, Brother James Lynch, for the introduction. And Your Holiness, all the venerables and also religious leaders, I pay my respect to all of you. And Your Eminence, Dharma brothers and sisters, and ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining the United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Week with the theme, Building Bridges Across Boundaries. As the COVID-19 pandemic continues to spread, which has impacted humanity, causing socio-economic issues, humanitarian crisis with widespread sufferings and hardship. Indeed, the world needs to stand united and in solidarity for the fight against this adversity. And religious leaders can play an important role during these challenging times. So today, we are in fact very fortunate to hear the views from our world-renowned religious leaders on the role of religious leaders in creating peace and harmony during this pandemic. And before I start the panel discussion, I would like to inform all the speakers in my panel that each speaker is given 10 minutes. When you hear the bell on the 9th minute, right, it goes like this. Right, wonderful? Yeah, okay. When you hear the bell, kindly wrap up your presentation because we are very constrained on the time, right? So without further ado, I'd like to invite His Holiness Acharya Dr. Lokesh Muni, our first speaker. Yeah, and Dr. Lokesh Muni, Acharya Dr. Lokesh Muni is the president of Ahimsa Vishwa Bhati. He has built the biggest consortium, United First Working on UN SDG India 2030 in 15 states, 2 UT, and over 480 organizations. Every year, over 240 drives has been initiated towards uplifting humanity in supporting the UN Sustainable Development Goals 2030. He has been working tirelessly in interreligious and interfaith harmony. He has been invited to discuss interreligious harmony with supreme spiritual leaders of the world, including His Holiness Pope Francis, Dalai Lama, Sri Ravi Shankar, and many more. Dr. Lokesh Ji is recipient of various awards, including National Communal Harmony Awards 2010 by the Government of India, Ambassador of Peace at London Parliament, Ambassador of Peace Awards in 2014 at the United Nations Center. So without further ado, I invite His Holiness Acharya Dr. Lokesh Muni to present his views.
Namaskar, everybody.
Namaskar, namaskar.
Namaskar.
Welcome.
सबसे पहले यूनाइटेड नेशंस वर्ल्ड इंटरफेथ हार्मनी वीक 2021 और इस अवसर पर आपने जो ब्रिज की बात की है, जो पुल की बात की है, जो सेतु की बात की है, आज पूरी दुनिया को उसी की जरूरत है। इस समय पूरी दुनिया में जो माहौल है, उस माहौल में इंटरफेथ डायलॉग की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत है और उस संवाद के द्वारा ही हम एक दूसरे की संस्कृति, एक दूसरे के धर्म, रीति रिवाज, परंपराएं, इन सब से परिचित हो सकते हैं। मेरा सौभाग्य है कि मैं उस भारत देश में जन्मा जहां पर अनेकता में एकता, जिस देश की मौलिक विशेषता है, सर्व धर्म सद्भाव जिसका मूल मंत्र है और बहुलतावादी संस्कृति इस देश की खूबी है। वसुधैव कुटुंबकम में हम सबका विश्वास है। मैं आप सबको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं, शुभकामनाएं देता हूं और यह आह्वान करता हूं कि आओ मिलकर बैठे, आपस में बात करें, 4 कदम ही सही चलने का साथ करें। यो तो दूरी से दूरी बढ़ती जाएगी, कभी तो हम खुद से खुद की मुलाकात करें। हमें धर्म जोड़ना सिखाता है, तोड़ना नहीं सिखाता। धर्म के क्षेत्र में हिंसा, घृणा, भय और नफरत का कोई स्थान नहीं हो सकता। हम अपने धर्म का ईमानदारी पूर्वक पालन करें, किंतु दूसरे धर्मों का भी आदर और सम्मान करें। उसी से जो है ब्रिज का निर्माण होगा, सेतु का निर्माण होगा, पुल का निर्माण होगा। मनुष्य मशीन का प्रोडक्शन नहीं है। विचार भेद, रुचि भेद, चिंतन भेद, ये सब स्वाभाविक है, किंतु मतभेद जब मन भेद का रूप धारण करते हैं तब समस्या उत्पन्न होती है। मैं यही निवेदन करूंगा कि हम सभी मिलकर के एक ऐसी खूबसूरत दुनिया जिसके अंदर प्रेम हो, भाईचारा हो, सद्भावना हो, करुणा हो, अहिंसा हो, कंपेशन हो, उसके लिए ऐसे अधिक से अधिक पीस थ्रो डायलॉग की, इंटरफेथ डायलॉग की जरूरत है। आज संकाया फाउंडेशन और उसके हमारे बौद्ध भिक्षु मेरे परम मित्र उपस्थित हैं, हमारे सिख धर्म से परमश्री सिंह चंडोक जी उपस्थित हैं। ये सभी हम मिलकर के यहाँ पर समय समय पर ऐसी कॉन्फ्रेंसेस करते रहते हैं। मैं आशा करता हूँ आप और हम सभी मिलकर के इस दुनिया को और बेहतर बनाने के लिए, यही भगवान महावीर का अहिंसा का संदेश है, अनेकांत दर्शन का संदेश है। अनेकांत का मतलब ही है हम अपने अस्तित्व की तरह दूसरों के अस्तित्व को स्वीकार करें, हम अपने विचारों की तरह दूसरों के विचारों का आदर करें। तो मैं पुनः आप सबको आह्वान करता हूं, आइए हम सब मिलकर के इस दुनिया को, इस समाज को खूबसूरत बनाने के लिए प्रयास करें। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आपका, संकाय फाउंडेशन का। ओम आर्हत।
On the behalf of I'm Milind Duke. I'm on behalf of Acharya ji. I will just briefly translate what Acharya ji says. I was told little later. Yeah. So
yes,
basically,
go ahead.
Yes. So basically, Acharya ji is saying that no religion in the world teaches us to differentiate other human beings. Every religion has a respect for all other religions. Our basic teaching of all the religions in the world is of the humanity, love and compassion. So there cannot be any conflict actually between any of the religions with each other. So this is the essence of the basic teaching of each religion in the world. So that itself becomes the basis why we should come together and create the world religion of all faiths together. And it says that the basic thing that this respect for each other is only going to create the bridges between the various cultures, various languages, various countries, and various boundaries together. Otherwise, such bridges cannot be created. It says that man is not the machine, but man is made up of the thoughts and emotions and the certain kind of a way of thinking. So there is always going to be differences in way of thinking, but that differences of way of thinking should not become the hindrance in creating the dialogue between the people. Because it is a dialogue between the people which creates the understanding and the bridges between the cultures and the people. So it is very important to understand the difference in the thought is always welcome. That makes the world beautiful. But there should not be the conflict because of the difference in the thoughts and opinions. It says that, so let's come together and work together and create the world together of compassion, friendship, love, and understanding. That only will make this world beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. So,
thank you very much for the translation.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much for the translation. Basically, Acharya Dr. Lokesh is saying that all religions in the world, all the major religions in the world are peace-loving, which means to say they thought about loving kindness and respect for one another. And because we are humans, we should respect life and we respect each other. There may be a difference in opinion, but that should not be a reason for the conflict. So very well said, Dr. Lokesh Muni. Thank you very much. Next, I'd like to invite Reverend Do-Yun Park, our next speaker, who is a Kyomunin, which literally means the one who devotes oneself to teach the Buddha Dharma in the Won Buddhist tradition. She has served as a minister of the Manhattan Won Buddhist Temple and a representative of Won Buddhism at the United Nations since 2008. She is the Buddhist religious life advisor at the Columbia University and New York University too. Realizing the interconnectedness of all through her spiritual practice, she is actively engaged in interfaith dialogue and cooperation to promote mutual understanding and respect among the different religions. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Reverend Do Yon Park to present her papers. Thank you.
Again, my greetings and peace to you all. It's my great honor to join all of you today in this celebration of World Interfaith Harmony Week. I kind of want to spotlight again from the UN resolution that the main purpose and idea of this celebration is that we remind this love of God and love of the neighbor, or the love of good and the love of the neighbor. And, you know, we've been, as a religious people, we've been celebrating this for last 10 plus years. And some of you, maybe as a lay person or just people of faith, think that interfaith harmony is for maybe devoted religious leaders, thinking that, you know, it has really nothing to do with my day-to-day life. But today, actually, with my sharing, I would like, give us to all the chance to think about how we can make this interfaith harmony to be more personal. Because I think that actually this day, it really comes down to a question of how I deal with the differences, how I interact with people who are different from me, how I respond to the situations that are different than I expected. So, and I'm sure, at times you have, someone in your life that you have no idea what to do. Maybe you feel some differences. And the bottom line today is that we want peace that brings us joy and happiness and security. So maybe we can think about, how different we are all. Like, yes, we are different. We have different sizes, we have different shapes, and we have different colors and different hairstyle. We have different likes and dislikes, different memories, because we have different experiences. So different way of thinking, different way of talking and doing. And I think it's very important to acknowledge and accept that, yes, we are different. And being different is not wrong. It's just different. But we tend to, take what is different as wrong. In Korean language, sometimes we say it's wrong when it actually means it's different. And I think this reflects our mind that seeing the difference as wrong. So often when we see something or someone different, we don't know them, or, and we're not familiar with them. We're not familiar with certain situations and conditions. And then maybe out of fear and out of discomfort of unknown, we think they are wrong. And we try to teach, we try to correct, we kind of blame and reject what seemed to be different. So accepting and acknowledging that we are different itself allows us to be at peace, to be at ease. So again, it's a simple reminder. I know many of you actually know that the difference is not wrong. So it's another, but we really need the reminders, day-to-day life. Yes, it's a different, and it's neither bad or wrong. So this is crucial realization that we, especially as religious leaders, to share with each respective communities. We really need to kind of share this idea that difference is not wrong. And this is one thing that I believe it's a way to create understanding, harmony, and peace. And there is a popular expression in the Buddhist tradition called a finger pointing to the moon. So we see that the Buddha's teaching is a method to experience reality. And it's not the reality itself, it's just like a finger pointing to the moon. This finger is not the moon itself, but actually we need this finger to find the moon. So many enlightened teachers warn us not to mistake a finger for the moon. So there are many different fingers pointing to the moon, different spiritual paths, different text, labels that help us to see the real moon. So again, to look at the moon, it is necessary to gaze beyond the finger. But at times, unfortunately, we sometimes argue on the fingers. So from where I stand, Sotaesan, the founding master of Won Buddhism, Sotaesan's finger looks clear from where I stand. So I kind of chose to look at the Sotaesan's finger, Sotaesan's teaching, to see the real moon. But it doesn't mean it has to be the same for all of you. So again, Won Buddhist founding teacher Sotaesan has a very unique story that shows why Won Buddhism takes an active role in the interfaith dialogue and cooperation. After Sotaesan's enlightenment, he got some of the basic scriptures of Confucianism, Buddhism, Taoism, Christianity, and other teachings from Eastern religions. And reading them, he said, ancient sages had known what I have come to know, meaning that Sotaesan's awakened mind allows him to see what other enlightened masters experienced. Though they use different words to express their awakenings according to different times and different places, the ultimate reality, the ultimate truth they experienced was one. So I find it's very kind of interesting how Sotaesan confirmed his own awakening is by understanding other spiritual, literatures, other spiritual texts. So I thought, what a rational way to confirm one's awakening. Once you master one language, you can understand anyone who speaks the language. So once we have this enlightenment, we will understand anyone who has the same levels of enlightenment. So from this point of view, Sotaesan guides us, his students to be respectful and open-minded to the other religious traditions. And as previous speaker, Dr. Lokenji kind of emphasized that all religions are peace-loving, promoting the respect and love and compassion and humanity. So in the Buddhist teaching, actually, we also see that everything exists in relation to one another. It's the same line that what Dr. Lokenji mentioned, that religious traditions are promoting this humanity, love, and compassion. So we don't exist from the Buddhist teaching. Literally, we coexist with one another. So this is what we call the interdependent nature of reality, meaning that everything is interrelated. And this COVID-19 pandemic really shows us it is the reality that we all live in relation to one another. So interfaith harmony is not only acknowledging that we are different, but also understanding that we are all interrelated. Because we are all interrelated, your well-being matters to my well-being and vice versa. So for us, again, interfaith harmony requires wisdom to see interconnectedness of all. And as I conclude this sharing, I want to offer the Won Buddhist chant in celebration of interfaith harmony. The English translation goes, divine energy of the universe fills my mind. Everything communicates with my divine energy. I become one with the universe. Together with the universe, I build justice and peace for all. The Korean chant will go like this. 천지연기야 심정만사여야 심통 천지여와 동일체하여 천지동심정 천지연기야 심정만사여야 심통 천지여와 동일체하여 천지동심정 천지연기야 심정 만사여야 심통 천지여와 동일체하여 천지동심정. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Do-Yun Park, for your inspirational presentation. Basically, Reverend Do-Yun has says that to love one another and also love one's neighbor. Our next speaker is Mr. Paramjit Singh Chandok, who is the advisor of Delhi Sikh Gurdwara Management Committee and International Affairs, Chairman of Gurdwara Bangla Sahib, New Delhi. In 2014, Paramjit Singh was awarded by the United Nations Delhi office as the Ambassador of Peace. And he is also the Delhi Govi Awards in 2016. Being a religious social worker, I have worked in this COVID-19 pandemic. Our organization has distributed langa, ready-made food to the needy people. Daily, we have supplied more than 17 lakhs people at this destination. Oh, very good. Thank you very much, Paramjit Singh. So, can you please, we have your presentation?
Very good morning to everyone.
Namaste, namaste.
Namaste, and very good evening to everybody in India side. Our namaste is not Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. This is by our Guru Maharaj. I am very happy to learn that World Peace International Interfaith Week is celebrating by the United Nations. I am sorry I am not well just now. I appeal to the organizer that my message is read out by my granddaughter Pravleen Korchadok because I have some problem and I am not in a position to read out my message. So I call my granddaughter to read my message. Come, Pravleen Korchadok.
So I'm
Welcome.
reading his message. So yeah, I am Paramjit Singh Chandok, advisor of DSGMC and chairman of Gurdwara Bangla Sahib, New Delhi. I am delighted to learn that United Nations is observing World Interfaith Harmony Week 2021. I congratulate the United Nations and sincerely hope that the Interfaith of United Nations will certainly promote inter-religious understanding among peoples of all faiths through dialogues and services. Interfaith harmony embodies the notion of life and let life in a world of increasing political and economic dissonance. Peacefully, coexistently among protagonists of various religious beliefs can prove to be the forward way for peace and prosperity. I'm sincerely thankful King Abdul II of Jordan, who proposed first a World Interfaith Harmony Week at the plenary session of the 65th United Nations General Assembly in New York City. The objects of Interfaith Harmony will week centrally help to build bridges among people through education. Religion is a very tough subject and people are oftentimes scared of religion, and it is important to present it in an open, engaging way. In our current climate, it is tolerated so we can move forward and this world a peaceful planet to coexist. For this, we need to start together at a local level. United Nations, in its resolution 53/243 of 6 October 1999 on the Declaration and Programme of Action relating to a culture of peace. 57/6 of November 2002 considering the promotion of a culture of peace and non-violence. 58/128 of 19th December 2023 on the promotion of religious and cultural understanding. Harmony and Cooperation 64/164 of 18th December 2009 on the elimination of all forms of intolerance and discrimination based on religion or belief. It is need of the hour that all nations and people of different faiths work together for the benefits of one and all, so that this planet should become a beautiful and peaceful planet for all the coexist and development of peoples of the world. At the end, I thank to the United Nations for its continuous efforts in promoting and maintaining harmony among nations. Thank you with regards.
Thank you, sir. I am happy that my message is read out by my granddaughter from Noor Korchandog. She is a student of 5th class in GEM International School. I think you like my message because I am not well to speak at this moment. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Simply adorable. Thank you very much. She's just adorable. You know, reading your kind message of understanding one another, tolerance, and also respect for humanity. And this is the way forward to achieve interreligious harmony. And thank you also to list the United Nations roles and also all the rules in engaging and promoting world peace. Once again, namaste. Thank you very much. And also thank you to your granddaughter.
That we had served 1,75,000 people daily kitchen langar to the needy person in the pandemic of 2019. COVID-19. 1.75 lakh people daily for 3 months, 4 months. And just now we have also served free kitchen to the Kisan Morcha people who are sitting on the borders of Delhi. So our religious body is doing well done work for the peoples of all communities. So I am once again thanks to invite me on this occasion. Once again, very, very, very happy day. And now I leave this meeting because of I am not well now. Can you allow me?
Thank you. Thank you once again. And also thank you for supporting humanity, all your humanitarian aids, and also in assisting the vulnerables and also the poor during this time of the pandemic. That was Mr. Paramjit Singh Chandok, who has his lovely granddaughter to read his message for him. Next, I'd like to call upon Imam Dr. Shamsi Ali. So Dr. Ali is well known as a moderate face of Islam and has been awarded largely for his tireless efforts in building understanding and cooperation between people of religions. He is known as a moderate face of Islam and has been awarded largely for his tireless efforts in building understanding and cooperation between peoples of religions, such as Ambassador for Peace by the Interreligious Federation in 2002 and Ellis Island Honor Awards in 2009, highest non-military awards presented to immigrants in the US. He also was chosen by New York Magazine in 2007 as one of the 7 most influential religious leaders in New York City and chosen as one of the 500 most influential Muslims in the world by Jordan Strategic Studies and Georgetown University in 2011 to 2014. So without further ado, I'd like to invite Imam Dr. Shamsi Ali to present his view.
Thank you very much. Good morning, peace, namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
Okay, great.
Everybody, I am truly delighted and honored to be with you all joining these honorable gatherings. And I would like to thank in the beginning the organizer, particularly my friend, Dr. Tika, for initiating this wonderful thing in time that we are deeply facing challenging moment. So in these very challenging circumstances of ours where we live in, it is incumbent upon all of us to extend hands to one another, creating a sense of solidarity, extending love and compassion, establishing harmony, peace, unity, and partnership. We must create a loving and friendly environment where we can share and care. Thank God that a lot of seminars, conferences, talks have been made. And the conclusion so far we got that it is easier to say than to do. But we must not be pessimistic. As the English-speaking people used to say, that at the end of the tunnel, always there is a shining light. My friends, in this light of sharing and caring, allow me to present a very simple, very brief, hopefully, my ideas on how to create harmony, peace, unity, and beyond that, partnership, so we can work together to face the challenge of our times. Because nothing we can do without unity and togetherness. So the first one that I would like to mention is the golden rule that everyone knows. That is that we must learn to treat others the way we wish to be treated. Humans are different, but humanity is only one. What we aspire and wish for ourselves, that what others aspire and wish for themselves. And so we must continue to learn how to treat others as we wanted to be treated by others. And I think this is a common religious teachings that we have, that every teaching teaches us to love our God with all our heart and minds and love our neighbors. In the Islamic tradition, the Prophet Muhammad, for example, told us that none of you is truly a believer until he loves for others what he loves for himself. This is the first one. The second, that we must learn to embrace the difference of opinion. Here we must embrace diversity. One of the basic character of ours as human beings is curiosity. So we tend to exercise our minds, and hence it produces different opinions. In the Islamic tradition, the difference of opinions is in fact encouraged because it gives us alternatives, different ways, different doors to exit from any problem we are facing in life. If you are stuck in this door, you can still have some other doors. So alternatives, diversity is always something desirable by anyone. In this regard, the Prophet Muhammad told us that the different opinions between people is truly a blessing. It's called rahmah in Arabic language. This is number 2. And I would like to underline in this particular point that all of us believe in the same supreme being. There is someone that we believe beyond our limitation as human beings. Whatever the name might you use, but we believe in the same. But then we have a different interpretations, different opinions about him. You can see from that corner, I can see it from this corner. But the fact is that we believe in the same supreme being, our creator, the one who has no limits beyond our limitations. So even in our religious differences is something that we have to embrace, because that's what it is. The third point, my friends, brothers and sisters, that is, we must learn to listen to one another. Even we may disagree. It might be particularly difficult for a person like myself who is given a title as a leader or imam or the priest or a pastor or rabbi, whatever. Sometimes it's difficult to listen to others. But the fact is that we have to learn to listen to one another. There is a tradition particularly among the Abrahamic faiths, Jewish, Christians, and Muslims, that when Abraham wanted to sacrifice his son, he came to him. And Abraham was so sure that he was commanded by God to sacrifice his son. And our Christians and Jewish friends believe it the way we believe it. But Abraham came to his son and asked his opinions. In the language of the Holy Quran, what do you think about it? Anzur madha tara. What do you see? How do you see it? You know, the lesson that we learn from Abraham here, that even to his son, he took his opinions in something which is fundamental in a religion, and that is the commands of God. God's commanded him, but still he took his son's opinions, the importance of listening. This is number 3, my brothers and sisters. Number 4, that we must learn to fight violence with peace. With peace. There is a beautiful saying by former US President Ronald Reagan, that peace is not absence of conflict. It is the ability to handle conflict by peaceful means. Handling violence with violence will create a cycle of unending violence. So we must be brave and courageous enough to face violent tendencies that we have in our society with peace. And that is very, very important. The Quran basically teaches us, I'd like to quote 2 verses here. Number 1, it says, nor can goodness and evil be equal. Repel evil with what is better. Then will be between whom and thee was hatred become as it was thy friend and intimate. And I hope you understand this. Number 2, the Quran also says, and the servants of God, the gracious, are those who walk in the earth with humility. And when the ignorant address them, they say, peace, salam. That is the way we handle violent tendencies in our community. It must be with peace. Because when we handle violence with violent way, then it creates a cycle of unending violence. Number 5, brothers and sisters, do not give a chance to extremism in our society, be it religious or political. Extremism is not only religious extremism, but for those who live in America, in the past few days, we see how political extremism have brought tremendous destructions in the community. The Prophet Muhammad said and told the Muslims, be careful of being extreme. Verily, extremism brings to self-destruction. This is number 5. Number 6, do not put people into one box. There is a saying says, the key to survival of liberty in our modern world is the embrace of multiple identities. One thing for sure is that human identity is fluid, my friends. Identity can and does change, taking many new forms and means of personal expression as we are learning languages, cultures, or we are integrating into new society, just immigrants in America, for example. So we must not everyone in the same box. We have to acknowledge the existence of differences. Number 7, avoid stereotype. Take people for the individuals who they are. Avoid misconceptions. Avoid toxic narratives and get to know the person instead. You know, Guruji here, who is also joining us, you know, he's from India, he's in America, he's a Hindu, he's a yogi. But you know what? I know him personally. So I know how kind he is, how good he is. If I just know him with stereotypical minds, I will say, you know, he is, you know, I may have different thinking about him, but I got to know him who he is. So get to learn about everyone individually. Avoid stereotypical minds about anyone, because no one is wanted to be judged, particularly by the outsiders. Number 8, stand for others. We must fight not only for ourselves, but for others. There's a beautiful saying says, and not for evil to thrive when the good people do nothing. What is happening to anyone today, it can and might happen to us tomorrow. So before it is happening to us, we must fight it, not only for others, but also for ourselves. And the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, whoever among you sees wrong, let him change it by his hands, by his authority. If he is not able, by his tongue. If he's not able, at least by his heart. These sayings of the Prophet was quoted by Biden recently in his campaign. The number 9, brothers, that we must create a more...
Brother, unfortunately, I think I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think we are under a lot of time constraint, so I hope you can wrap up your speech.
Let me wrap up. In 1 minute, as you said. So this is the last one, that we have to create a more just and fair world, because it is difficult to enforce peace when we see oppressions and unjust treatment of others. You have seen recently the Black Lives Matter movement. That is this unjust treatment of our Black brothers and sisters in the society. And it creates an anger. And therefore we must work together to create a just and fair society. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, Imam Dr. Shamsi Ali, for I think your very inspiring and also valuable views on the roles of religious leaders. I think is very well organized. About you have presented something like 10 points, I think, yeah, for 8 or 10 points, right, to treat one another the way we wish to be treated, and also to love love others how we want to be loved, right? And also you have mentioned that in Islam, a difference of opinion is encouraged and a blessing, but should not be the cause of conflict, right? To listen, to learn to listen, and also learn from one another, to fight violence with peace. That is very nice, yeah. We do not fight violence and then we have war, yeah. And also to do not live of extremism. So thank you very much for your views. Next, I'd like to call upon our final speakers for this panel, Minister Jerusha McDonald Hilton, a native of Las Vegas, who has gained notoriety in the world of fashion and entertainment as a print and runaway model. She has traveled as a runaway model and now running across the globe, carrying the message of gospel of peace and harmony. Jerusha is a role model to millions across the globe with Women with a Vision Ministry, WWAV, and African Cry. She formed WWAV, a faith-based support group that seeks to uncover and nurture the spirit of God in women of all ages, nationalities, religious background, or no spiritual background. African cry was birthed from the cry of mother African children from around the globe. Jerusha have been traveling in the spirit and in the flesh for all who cry, has come before the Lord's heart and tears to reach the throne room of God. So without further ado, welcome to present your speech, Minister Jerusha McDonald Hilton.
God bless you all, and thank you for having me. It is my honor to join the host of all of you. I don't know if you can see me. Is it a problem with viewing me? I'm just trying to make sure. Anyway, let me just go on without the view. First of all, I want to thank you all for this platform and for the subject of peace. I would like to bring to this platform the importance of us as clergies, leaders, trailblazers. It is important for all of us to return to our heart. Our heart is where the issue of life and love comes from, in the spirit of God. But also when we open up the veil, the veil, not the veil, the canal or the vial of our heart, what issues out more than our words is our love. And our love is what people will see. That's what they will feel. I believe now more than ever, the earth is travailing that we will come out as clergies, as trailblazers and leaders of candlesticks, that we come out and show the world really what peace looks like. Because peace starts with us individually, and then as we come together collectively, we create a global light of peace and energy of love. And each one of us on this platform may have different faiths, but we stand together in unity in the bond and heart and spirit of love. And so if I can leave anything with you today, let us join our hearts and our spirit together to begin to show the world and be the models what it really looks like. Everyone else have hit the streets, and I keep saying this, but we as the clergies and we as the peacemakers have not. We've been having a lot of meetings, but we can make a great impact in such a time as this. We're going to be the ones to usher in this new revival, this new light and energy of the spirit on earth as it is in heaven. But we must be willing as peacemakers, ambassadors, to come together across the globe like hands across of America and begin to come out of our secret places and begin to show the world what it really looks like, because we represent what God looks like, every nation and tongue in one place on one accord. And that is all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Oh, please unmute yourself.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
No, the doctor. Dr. Young, could you unmute yourself and speak?
Okay, all right, okay, accidentally. Okay, thank you very much, Minister Jerusha McDonald Hilton, for your presentation. I think your message is very clear that all of us are in fact peacemakers, all religious leaders, everyone in this chat room, and also everyone in the world. It starts with us, it starts with an individual, us. If we change ourselves, right, we open our heart, we have love, right, and we have peace. If we have peace, everyone encourage one another, it becomes a ripple effects, right? So the world will eventually have experience world peace. So thank you very much once again, Minister. So we have concluded with all 5 renowned world leaders and who has presented their opinion and also very inspirational and motivational speeches. So I'd like to pass back the floor to the host now for our next program.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Young, in introducing everyone with enthusiasm and joy. Thank you very much for being here. I would now
Most
like
welcome.
to have, we're going to have a musical interlude by Ms. Lula Layla. She's a phenomenal performer. Let's sit back and enjoy her. Thank you so much.
And then Lula is here today, so maybe she can say a few words too. But before that, I'm going to show the background. So,
You want me to read it?
yeah, if you don't mind.
Sure, of course. Lula Layla is a Japanese singer, songwriter, and composer from Tokyo. From 2000 to 2019, her creative home was NYC, New York City. Since then, she has grown her online presence to reach listeners throughout the world. Her spiritual music has Japanese traditional elements combined with contemporary world folk sensibilities. She composes and performs with the piano and the tanbar, an ancient Asian instrument. Love is the source of her music and lyrics, and a message she channels to the listener. On the other hand, she is producing and performing art and music event Majnun Party Series that celebrates spiritual and cultural influences from around the world. She says, quote, "We all know that the original songwriter of all lyrics and music is one, as we know all of the world's creation comes from one." Thank you. Lula.
Thank you. Do you want to ask Lula to say some words?
Yes, Lula, can we have you say a few words?
Hi.
Delicious.
Thank you, James. This is my great pleasure to be a part of this interfaith program from Japan. So I translated the poem House of Love by Javad Nurbakhsh and composed. Hope you like it. So please enjoy this music. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, let me share again. Okay, sorry. Okay. どうもありがとうございます。
ありがとうございました。
Though we body separate, we are all but one spirit. We are all the beloved of one another. Through the purity of love, we are guides and helpers of one another. We are all the beloved of one another. Soれぞれの体に分かれど私たち一つの魂。愛の純粋さを通し私たち互いに導き合う友人。私たちは一つ一つの御霊。私たちみんな愛互いに愛しいとهمه یکی روح مجسم شده در ابدانی همه یکی روح مجسم شده در ابدانی همه جان هم و روح و دل و دل دور همین همه جان هم و روح و دل و دل دور همینあなたも私もない私
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. It was really beautiful. Thank you very much. Next, we're up to part 2 of the day, and we're going to have several speakers addressing the role of religious leaders creating peace and harmony during the pandemic, which is actually going to be moderated by me. So I will introduce the first speaker today, the second part. Thank you, thank you. I have the distinct pleasure to introduce our next speaker, who's a wonderful person and a great friend, Guruji H.H. Dilip Kumar Thankapan. Guruji is the global chairman of the World Yoga Community, which is an NGO associated with the United Nations Department of Global Communications. Guruji is the secretary of the Committee of Religious NGOs at the United Nations and the Secretary General of the Global Council of Hindu Leaders. Guruji is also an interfaith minister, humanitarian yogi, spiritual guru, monk, artist, dancer, bhajan singer, musician, sportsman, martial artist, traditional healer, promoter of SDGs of the United Nations, the founder of the global movement for the International Day of Yoga, and much, much, much more. I have the distinct pleasure to introduce Guruji. Guruji. Thank you.
त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनं पूर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षेयमामृता ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा गच्छेत् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सत्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते लोकाः समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ Namaste everyone. This is my great honor and pleasure to be part of this wonderful event. This is like my bread and butter actually. I born in an interfaith family, father as a Christian, Orthodox Christian, mother is a Hindu. Then I chose becoming a yogi. End up traveling all over the part of the world, meeting people. When I saw this subject, building bridges across boundaries, I was so thrilled. The way you look at our panelists, Imam Shamsi Ali, T.K. Nagagaki, James Range, and Dion Park, these all are our friends from different countries came here and meeting in New York. We are making the change through our activities. I appreciate all of your great work. The role of religious leaders creating peace and harmony during the pandemic. Maybe somebody created the virus or it came from the earth. We don't know any of this real story. But human beings are suffering actually. We cannot find proper medicine or we cannot control the system. So this is the time we are going last 1 year. When pandemic happened, I was in New York, fly to India for some events and we changed our plans because of the pandemic situation. We had a wonderful peace event with all the religious leaders and we had to cancel events in North. Then I had to fly back to New York the last day. Next day, airport closed. I was thinking what to do. I cannot do anything because there's no solid cash in our hand. Everything shut down. The Black Lives Matter movement is moving on. The clash between people. I thought I had to do something for people. Then I start calling all of my friends, talk with them. Are you okay? First question I asked them, are you okay? Do you have enough food to eat? Do you feel depressed? Do you need somebody to talk with you? You see, the media create a lot of issues to make us scared. Then I thought, no, what we'll do? We'll get a Zoom account, start a meeting every Wednesday, Interfaith Dialogue. We start bringing people in a platform. We start streaming on social media. We start connecting from different people from different countries. That I felt we are doing something to make people really calm and educational. I was so thrilled to do that part. Day and night, we start moving with the people, end up without sleep. This is 24 hours going on. But I feel good. We may have chosen wrong leaders for our nation or our area, but we don't have to look forward towards them. We had to look towards our activities. We communicate with the people, we try to support everybody without any discrimination. We won't care about what language they speak, what religion they are from. We communicate. They are our brothers and sisters. So by birth, we know we are the chosen divine being to came on this earth to love and care and support our community. We have a purpose. Otherwise, we won't be here. So I took this as a challenge. Just connect people and educate through our dialogues. That's the thing, entire life I'm doing. Move around, bring people together. They may see I'm wearing an orange, they don't like it, fine. Let them hate me, fine. But one day they will realize I'm not doing anything wrong. I may have a belief in certain system, but I'm not going to harm anybody. So when people give hard time, I thank God because that makes me stronger. I'm not expecting everybody to think about each of us, oh great, no. Let them think. This is an evolution happening in our thought process. We don't have to judge anybody. Our job to be a divine being. We always think about the God, because God is divine. We read scriptures. When it comes to the practical level, we are a little lazy or scary. So I believe I want to be a divine being, not look like a God. The godliness I want to accept in every single breath, in every single action. Show my real love to my fellow beings, my sisters, brothers from different countries. I take them as my family members. This is the way I develop myself. It's a yogic way, I feel good. Now I don't feel like there's a pandemic going on. Whatever drama's going on, let them have the drama. But we focus, we educate our people what to eat, which food is good for our health. What are the things we had to learn about how to face the situation with the pandemic criteria? Or do you need any herbal medicines? Or do you need any homeo medicines? Or any other techniques we can use it? We collect the message, we'll share with our people. We don't want under somebody's control and destroy our life or health. As far we are doing well, this whole week is a World Interfaith Harmony Week. We are celebrating so many events. At least once in a year, we can gather together like this, non-stop interfaith movement. Here I congratulate each of you to hosting this event and bringing us together. And we are making the change through our actions and change the world for a betterment. Thank you, James Lynch, Deacon Nagagagi, and other speakers. It is my great pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Gurji. Thank you. I wanted to do what we heard, some things that we heard from the other moderator. I just want to highlight some of the things he said. Beings are suffering. Be ready for change. Reaching out when he said, are you okay, to people who are in need, maybe in the community. He said, media can also create false narratives of fear. But then if you saw him take action by creating weekly meetings, right? Look at our actions, he said. Yeah. So essentially, how can we help? Love, care, and support, he mentioned. He also then said, dialogue, difficulties make you stronger, and be practical. Educate, educate, educate. Thank you so much, Gurji. Right, thank you. Next we have Rabbi Oleg Levinsky. Rabbi Levinsky has a degree in teaching, a master's degree in electrical and electronics engineering field. He's the owner of a company that deals with organization, engineering, economics consulting, and management. Chairman of the People and Good Deeds Association, representative Israel in the GSW organization, regional director in Israel on behalf of the IYC organization, owner of Young Professors Online, IT programming, and cyber education, children and youth. As a college professor, I say, he sounds great. Rabbi Levinsky, thank you for being here.
Thank you very much. Not Rebbe, but you know, now it's Shabbat, and so I believe it's real Shabbat as observance entails refraining any activities, but in Israel it's the end of Shabbat, so I could talk to everyone of here. It's honor to me to be here, you know, and they put on my little shoulders a big responsibility to speak as a Jewish. You know, all the people who talked before me or just representatives said all of the things I plan to talk about the faith, and I coming from the education, all my, not long, but life I deal with education of children education, and you know, I always say that our big target on our aim is not only to give them skills, you know, we have to make them much more better people. You know what it means. You know, as all the faith says that we need to get the difference of other people. We have to learn them to give the respect of other, get other people, and it's, I believe that all of faith on all the world says, you know, we have one world, but we have so different faces, but we need to study to live each with other. And I believe that the COVID show us, and maybe they'll give us opportunity to make the changes. You know that COVID shows that there are no matter what your status, how money you have, or what the technology you have, the COVID kills the same way as the people from the different status, from the different faiths, from the different places in the world. So, and I believe that if we will start to be much more empathic to each other, and we will think the other feelings, other state of point, and it will make the world much more better. And I believe that after the COVID will disappear, we will see the different world. We live in technology eras, but technology gives us the opportunity to talk with each other, and for example, as now, but technology can't change us, and technology can't help us to know what to say or how to listen to each other. So the power of human, the power of face of each other is to give us opportunity to listen to each other. And when the God come to Moses, summoned to Moses and say him to be a leader, Moses replied, I'm not a man of words, not yesterday, not since the day before, and not from the first time. You spoke to your servant, and I slow of speech and tongue. It's from Shmot. So what's the reason that God choose such a person to lead the Jewish people who can speak normally, but it's because a person who can speak learns to how to listen. And I believe that it's a target of aim of our words, aim of all of faith, it's to learn how to listen. And it's a fundamental mitzvah of Torah, it's Shema Israel. It's a Hear Israel. And I believe if we will teach to listen, we will serve not only COVID and we will make our world is much more better. So thank you very much for inviting me for this to talk to you, and I hope I explained my point of view, and it's a very big respect of each of us. Thank you very much. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Levinsky. Thank you for those warm words and insightful words. Some of the things, I just want to recount some of the things the rabbi shared with us. He said, education isn't enough. We must make the students and human beings better people and show respect for other humanity. He said, COVID may have been given to us as a chance to make us understand each other better, to change, because regardless of the status, wealth, geography, we're all impacted. And he also said, once COVID is over, he believes that we will be in a new world. And then he also pointed out that technology, what can really be the power of technology is that it helps us to listen and to hear each other better. So I want to thank you for those warm remarks. Thank you. Next, we have a great friend of the Hayward Peace and Reconciliation Foundation, as well as a great friend of the Buddhist Council of New York. Reverend Dr. Chloe Brer has directed Interfaith Center of New York, ICNY, since 2007, and worked with hundreds of grassroots leaders from diverse faith traditions to catalyze partnerships with civic officials and resolve social problems plaguing New York City and beyond. Issues of shared concern have included police reform, immigration concerns, and combating anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. An Episcopal priest in the Diocese of New York, Chloe serves as associate priest at St. Philip's Church in Harlem. Welcome, Reverend.
Great.
Greetings. Thank you so much. And I want to just begin by bringing greetings from the Interfaith Center of New York, and to think about the concept that Arundhati Roy from India brought us about this pandemic, which is that it is indeed a porthole. It is a liminal time through which we are all traveling, and we have a choice about how the world, how we will emerge from it. We can't avoid it. we can deal with the challenges that it poses to us, and then we can literally, she says, recreate the world that comes out of it. And in that light, I just wanted to share with you a few thoughts that have come to mind, both from working in a parish in Harlem, where a part of our New York City that has been quite hard hit, and also from directing the Interfaith Center of New York. First, from the perspective of an ordained person working in a place where the elderly and vulnerable are hard hit. And one of the things that has been talked about a lot has been the way that this pandemic has opened our eyes to the inequities in our society, and the disparity of health care has fallen largely on the poor and the marginalized and people of color. That has been a truth that we've known at one level for a long time, but it has come to us in a whole new meaning through the pandemic. The other thing that has come to us because of or faith leaders has been the way that so much of what we take for granted in terms of the importance of human connection and the rituals that we have for grieving, the basic notions of gathering and of sharing in person, of burying the dead, and those rituals that, again, we took for granted are things that we'll need to use all of our human ingenuity to try to deal with, because indeed, like the compounding of grief by the pandemic, that loved ones have been lost and taken from us, and that our grief has not had a place to share or to express itself for so long. And one way that I think that we are using our ingenuity and creativity to deal with this is through the medium that we're on right now, on Zoom and on other forms of online connection that enable us to share in other ways, through the sharing of music, through the sharing of stories, and indeed through the inclusion of people who wouldn't ordinarily be able to come in person and to grieve because of physical distance. And that brings us to a third way that I think that we have been impacted and are being able to think about how we want to, what changes we can take with us through the other side of the portal. And that is about the use of technology as a substitute for air travel. And this can't always be the case, but one thing that we've known is how fragile our planet is, and the massive impact that we are having on it through climate change. And one main contributor to this worldwide has been the frequency and real the use of air travel as something that won't end. But I think that the pandemic has shown us that perhaps many of the things that we would go to, as faith leaders or as any kind of person in any vocation, many of the meetings that we would go to or trips that we would make physically that would require air travel, we now have the ability to discern that perhaps not all of those are really necessary, and that we can have a positive impact on our planet through substituting many of those physical trips for online meetings, for where that is possible. So those are three ways that I think that we can teachings that the pandemic has given us that we can take with us onto the other side. And I just wanted to share with you finally an example of at least some of what I'm talking about, because the Interfaith Center had the opportunity to partner with Interfaith Glasgow and also the Interfaith Council in Cape Town, South Africa, recently to do a seminar somewhat like this. And one of the things that I was really struck by listening in particular to our friends in South Africa was the way in which they had taken upon themselves as an interfaith council to raise money to bridge the digital divide, because I think they realized that this has become more and more important, that all people who are able to have access to some kind of digital connection is critical when we can't have our physical connection. So they had actually raised money for people in their community who couldn't afford to get the right amount of data in order to be able to get on Facebook, and had worked with some of the phone companies to ensure more equitable access. And that seemed to me a very imaginative example of Arundhati Roy's idea of addressing an immediate problem, which is this pandemic, but then choosing, once we have come out of it, to create a world where we incorporate the teachings of the pandemic. So those are the things I wanted to share today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Breyer. Let's just go over some of the things she said. She's quoting someone else. She said, the pandemic is a portal of change that potentially we can recreate our world. The pandemic also has opened eyes about the disparity of healthcare in our society for many individuals, particularly those of color. Most of what we've taken for granted, she pointed out, such as the rituals for grieving and bringing people together, we weren't paying attention to. However, technology, using Zoom, music, stories, frequently can bring people together. She also said the need with that technology of bringing people closer. And finally, 2 points she pointed out. She said what did change is that with the portals, what's going to happen as we come on the other side or outside the portal, that recognizing climate change and things that maybe we could have avoided in meeting in person, such as some gatherings, maybe frequency of air travel maybe could be avoided to protect the environment and make us safer. And then finally, she talked about and gave a real practical example of bridging the digital divide in South Africa, and that many people of goodwill see that as something else that we can do through technology. I want to thank Reverend Bear very much. Thank you. Next, we have Cicely Greaves, aka Cicely G. And I can say when she came on this morning, I was a little low energy. Seeing her smiling face picked me up. And Cicely G has been studying Brahma Kumaris Raja Yoga meditation for the past 7 years and is an active student. This teaching has taught her how to build bridges beyond limitations and to be in harmony with self and others. As the president and CEO of Regard for Virtues, it teaches each person to simply have regard for self and others. The emphasis must always be on self first. She is the founder and director of Inclusive Consortium that does capacity building and entrepreneurship. Welcome, Cicely G.
Thank you very much for that lovely introduction. And yes, I'm going to share a PowerPoint slide with you. So just to serve the visual aspect of the way that we learn as well. So let me just put it on big screen. Here we go. So I want to thank all of you for being here to have these wonderful conversations on building bridges across boundaries, World Interfaith Harmony Week 2021. And I want to start with how Guruji said, Om Shanti. So Om Shanti just simply means I am peace. And so when we connect to that original quality of peace, then we can have harmony all the time. So this is what the globe should look like, holding hands together, being as one. As many of the speakers mentioned before, this is what we should be doing. Because we're all one and we all recognize that Supreme Being in a different form. We just give that Supreme Being different names. And so that's all it is. So we are the same, just like that Supreme Being. So I saw this quote and I thought it'd be very good to share with everyone today. And it was actually a resolution. It was in September 2019, the United Nations adopted a resolution to designate 2021 as the International Year of Peace and Trust. In a video address, Volkan Bozkır, president of the 75th session of the UN General Assembly, urged us all to put aside differences and build on the relationships that already exist. Between conflicting people and communities, building trust often means identifying common problems and collaborating in the search for mutual solutions. Yet trust building can be as simple as starting a conversation or offering your support. The international organization describes trust as the keystone of peace, keeping communities engaged during the process of creating lasting peace. So we have all of these days of the year to begin to practice peace. So today is February 6th. So we can start from today and continue for each and every day throughout the calendar. Differences. We can see this little doll in the middle is different from the rest. But you see, we really are like the dolls that have no face, have no bodies, have no connection to name and form. And you see, this is the issue that has caused us problems because we have gone in the space of name and form. But really, we are eternal beings, as Guruji said, Om Shanti, I am a peaceful being, just like the Supreme Being. And this is the teaching of Brahma Kumari's Raj Yoga meditation. And it's helped me to understand and no longer be conflicting with self and others once I connect to that true sense of self. Relationships. So I have to say that this has been an opportunity. The virus has brought us all together globally to build the relationships. And we need to make them strong like this knot, tie them strong and do not break them. That even when things go back to a new place, it will never go back to what it was before because it was dysfunctional. And so we need to find that functionality again. So to build that knot, keep these kinds of conversations going and share with others. So no conflicts. So as you can see, there are different colors here in this image. So whether you're blue, black, white, red, orange, we are all the same. And then there will be no conflicts. We have to see beyond what we visually see with the two eyes and connect beyond that with the third eye to connect to the true self. Building trust, that has been a thing that has been really the thing that has put a block before us, is building that trust. Oh, I don't know what this one is practicing, so they're a Buddhist, so they're practicing Hinduism or whatever. And this is what I like about Brahma Kumaris. It doesn't matter what you are practicing. We are all the same. We all belong to the one family. So it doesn't matter. We must honor and regard each one as they practice their religion, their spirituality, their faith. Identifying the problems. We've heard problems, the problems that have been discussed, what they are, but to continue to identify them and immediately negate those problems so they don't be an ongoing thing. We know what's happened, things are transitioning, so we just move forward from there. Collaboration. I love collaboration. And this is what's happened from this whole thing, is that we've gone virtual, is that I've collaborated with so many people. And so let's continue this knot. Let's continue this plait or knot or whatever you can call it. So we can continue to build these global collaborations. So no longer sitting here in the United States and collaborating with people here, but now globally. So this is something that we need to do so that we can get the message out there. Mutual respect, mutual solutions. So I don't know if you've noticed that all of these slides are based on that resolution. I took words from that resolution and built on it because they were very significant. So you see this beautiful globe here, and it says mutual respect. So when we have regard and respect for others, there will be no conflict. So my thing is, if I love myself, I can love you too. If I am Shanti, that being of peace, you too are that being of peace. Trust building, we spoke a little bit about that before. So let's complete that puzzle and keep it stable. Let's not shake up the puzzle. Conversation, like we're having today, having ongoing dialogue, not only locally, but globally. So just maybe because the borders may reopen, let's continue to do these kinds of conversations so that we can be the beacon. We're leaders, we are leaders in our own right, whether we're attached to a particular religion or faith or spirituality. We are all individually leaders, and we can make change in our perspective spaces. So support, we must offer support to everyone and have ongoing conversations. This is a one-off conversation I've attended before. I think they're excellent, but create small hubs. We can meet every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or a time that's mutual for this global platform. So continue from here, continue to have these dialogues. Don't let it be the one-off. So every day we have our teaching and we have a blessing. And so I thought the blessing was very appropriate. And so I'm going to share that blessing with you. And it says, may we be world transformers who constantly serve the world with our vision of mercy and benevolence for all. And so this is a beautiful image that we do, as you can see on both sides of me, our image of who we see as that supreme being in the Brahma Kumaris. So this is this image of that supreme being that you see on the screen now. So I invite you to have a moment of reflection and silence and connect to that supreme source based on where you are. Om Shanti. And I love when I do this because what happens is everything goes quiet around me, like the whole house goes quiet, nature goes quiet. So it just shows the power of a human being, that we can change things. We can make things go quiet. So I invite you to do this in your own space. And again, Om Shanti.
Thank you, James.
Yes, thank you very much, Cicely G. Wonderful. Some of the things that she pointed out. We can build peace. We are all the same. Practice peace everywhere. She noted the power of seeing difference, but not making it a barrier. She talked about the relationships, power of relationships. Yeah. The idea of trust was one of the things, one of the slides she showed us, the power of trust. Collaboration was one of the slides she talked about, and conversations, having conversations that brings us together. And then she finally finished with blessings, a world of transformation. Shanti. So that was beautiful. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you. Imam Muhammad Shahidullah, who's a good friend of mine, I forgot because the order changed. Imam Muhammad Shahidullah is an interfaith leader, imam, media personality, community organizer, human rights activist, actively involved in mainstream social and culture that affect the Muslim community in New York City. He is also the president of the Interfaith Center of USA and CEO of ITV USA. Welcome, Imam Shahidullah.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Okay.
I'm trying to share my screen. I have a few slides, and Imam Shamsi already delivered a very important piece about these topics. And I'm trying to share my screen.
Okay, let me see what I can do. 1 second. Okay, can you?
Yes.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Nagaraki. Thank you, Imam Shamsi, and all interfaith leaders. I'm, I think, very youngest panelist or speaker to join here. I'm very proud. I'm always try to learn, from like both these guys, whatever, the panelists here. The first, actually, I'm working with the South Asian youth and like especially the Muslim community, especially the Bangladeshi community, and I have like a good few young and youth friend, and we try always last 5 years we try to involve our youth generation to like the interfaith activities. That's why we have more than 15 youth from Queens and the different area, and we try to educate why we need to involve like the interfaith activities. We always saw whatever interfaith activities in like New York or like the others, the country, all are most of the ages or academic person. We have like very few interfaith activists or from our youth group. That's why we try to educate them like the basic things, like what is the interfaith and like the based on Islam, how we the present like the interfaith activities. And it's very simple and basic. I want to share like few slides, like what is the harmony? Harmony about the coexist stands, that the meaning life and the late life. It is a way forward to peace and the prosperity, both urgently required in the world, the growing political and the economic scenario. And what is the interfaith harmony? We know about this basic idea, but we try to educate in our community, in my friends, like we already passed 6 days in this February, and a lot of program happening in the virtual world. The Guru Dilip Ji and the UN, Dr. Nagaraki, Imam Shamsi, all Interfaith Center of New York. They have a lot of program, but we try to, especially like we are trying to educate in our community, like how we can encourage them to involve more and more. What is the interfaith harmony? The interfaith harmony means to tolerate other faith and exhibit love for others while living in the mixed society. And we try to post on our social media like this type of picture, like we're under one God and we work together, and we try to spreading the message like on behalf of the Islam, like how we will work together. What says, like what Islam says, the Islam ordinate to respect other religion. All the citizens have equal rights and respect in the religion of the race and the creed. Love and peace toward other religion will introduce them to embrace Islam, and no worship place will be demolished by anyone. Every human being is scared. And we have few program. Dr. Nagarati, he done last few years ago. We already start the promote the Interfaith Harmony, and a lot of more than 20 guests was joined, and we already broadcast this program on ITV, and we try to focus like based on Quran and Hadith, like this is the one Quranic words and one Hadith we already mentioned here, and the interfaith, the component of the interfaith harmony in Islam, the right to preservation of dignity as human being, freedom of belief, follow their religious law, justice, security of life, property and honor, good treatment, social security, protection from the foreign enemies. We have a lot of 27 slides, but we cannot take a long time because my knowledge is very limited. I am actually, I want to share the idea, and we have a lot of experienced panelists here. We need to involve our young generation and our new generation, those will be active in our community, and those will be represent for our next generation. Thank you, Dr. Nagarati. Thank you, all faith leaders, and thank you, host.
Yes, thank you very much, Imam Shahidullah. These are some of the points that he pointed out. Harmony, education is important, and only interfaith activities are equally important to encourage people in his own community and all communities to do that. He then talked about coexistence, means that we live and let live. He also pointed out, Imam Shahidullah talked about love for others while living and figuring out how to do that in a mixed society. He also talked about tolerate others, respecting all religions. And he also indicated in his talk, every human being is sacred. Thank you very much, Shahidullah. And I was going to then fold in what he was saying, some of the other things we heard the speakers saying, they were all saying wonderful sort of things. Being suffer, reaching out is important. Seeing others who are unseen. All of the speakers in one way or another talked about learning. Some speakers talked about learning requires constant cultivation in a way, the way I put it down, cultivation of human beings who respect each other. Using our teachings wisely. We need to, I had mutual respect, peace, being peace, a world of transformation. What happens when we come post-pandemic on the other side? And I'll leave it with Om Shanti Shanti. Thank you very much. And that's it. That was the that area right there.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have a song presentation from Frank A. Hain and the Brooklyn Interdenomination Choir, BIC. And let me quote from them. We believe the power of music transcends our culture, political, financial, and religious differences to expose that which we truly share, faith, hope, and love, says Frank A. Hay, BIC's founder, artistic director, and conductor. With that thought in mind, BIC ventures out to places of worship, interfaith peace gatherings, concert halls, rock, jazz, blues venues, music festival, fashion shows, movie screenings, art galleries, disaster relief benefits, green ecological events, clubs, schools, hospitals, senior citizens, shelters, transit hubs, expose, conventions, plays, rallies, weddings, tributes, street fairs, and community and private events, and many, many more. They performed in Italy, Egypt, China, and Haiti, as well as domestically and virtually. BIC has uplifted audiences with gospel, inspirational, classical, popular, and world music. Thank you so much, and welcome, BIC. A beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song by the BIC Choir, Healing for Your Soul. Now we're going to have some final remarks. Reverend Dr. T. Kenjitsu Nakagaki, TK, is a Buddhist priest ordained in the 750-year-old Jodo Shinshu tradition of Japanese Buddhism. He's a president and a founder of the Heiwa Peace and Reconciliation Foundation of New York, formed in 2018. He's also an executive officer and former president of the Buddhist Council of New York. He is Hiroshima Peace Ambassador, Nagasaki Peace Correspondent, and honorable board members of the Interfaith Center of New York and the New York City Police Department Clergy Liaison. Since 1994, Reverend Nakagaki has organized an interfaith peace event to commemorate the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombing. Welcome, Venerable Dr. Nakagaki.
Yeah, so thank you very much again for everything. And then James, I appreciate very much now your MC now, back to the MC. And so we are very, very grateful. I'm particularly very grateful for to be able to host this particular events, and wonderful speakers. We learn a lot, and I hope some people said, continue to have this kind of dialogue. And for me, this is acknowledgement in one way, but also I just wanted to share a little bit of my thoughts of the peace building too, because one thing is, for me, it's always two things that we need. One is will. We wanted to do this. The first of all is to recognize the importance, and so in a way, the mind, and then there's the need of the practice. We need practice too. So that's why we may have so many different interfaith events, but those are very important. Small or big, it doesn't really matter, I believe, but everybody try to do something for the interfaith mutual understanding and the mutual respect. So that's very important, because it's like a cleanup too. It's just wanted to clean everything, but the mind of cleanup is one thing, wanted to clean, but yet if you don't do anything, it doesn't clean anything in the house. And so, but an interesting part of the cleanup is you just started once. Then, if you don't do for a while, it just dust come back and so forth, then clean again. So in a way, keeping clean our room and so forth is probably difficult. But yet, by putting the routine type of things, we may be able to do it, And also the same idea for interfaith or peace building or keeping harmony together is we need a mind, but not just the once, but we need to do like a daily practice also. So that we don't bring the dust again. And so, but then if you got dust again, then back to this kind of conference, we just remind we need to do continuously for this kind of practice. And I believe everybody knows, and then somebody said, know to mind, but then how to practice. And I guess the human people, human beings, or actually talking about myself, I tend to be a little lazy. I don't know whether you see that way or not, but then so because of that, I wanted to do a little bit more to do something. And so it's the kind of if you know who you are, you know certain things, so you can sort of like make yourself to the right way. So that's one part of the practice. I believe it's important. And so even I'm start thinking when we have a practice, we have at least the Buddhism, that we have three things that are very important to practice peace or keep the harmony. One is actually of course the thoughts of peace, and thinking about the importance of all lives, including your life. Or if you understand your life is most important, maybe the other's life is also most important for them. So which means we should respect others' life too. And so, but the mind of interface is very important. And then second, the word. We somehow we always talk about mind and the body, but yet, or actions, but yet the words are action too. Sometimes words are more the violent than the physical violence, possibly even, because the words can kill people too. And so that's, but then also same words can make people happy. So it's a very interesting, in a way, instrument that we have. But yet, if we create, the peaceful world by the words, that's good. But yet, sometimes the words can create, false truth or kind of things too. So it's words has to be much more carefully used, which I believe is our next task, because it seems like words are really not controlled these days. And so even though when we talk about I didn't do anything, I didn't do physical violence, so it's okay, it's not. But the words is also the one, something that we can connect mind and the body. So I hope we can also emphasize some practice of the words. By words, we can create the peace, also harmony as well. So that's something that I just wanted to share with you today. And I don't want to make it too long myself either. But the very last example that I always, probably I say many times too, but then the one tradition that I like in Buddhism is that everybody is a number one, whether you know or not. I mean, at least the disciple of the Shakyamuni Buddha, like even 10 disciples, they are all number one. You know, like a Shariputra is number one of wisdom. Like Ananda is a number one of many listening. And then like Moggallana is a number one for supernatural power. And Upali is the number one for keeping the precepts. So each one has a number one for something. And so in a way, we just are all number one as we are. And then, but then so as others. And so that's why we can respect, we can learn each other, and then we can share and try to understand. Once you understand, we can create a great harmony, right? It's like an orchestra. That's the one that I always say. Because each one has a different instrument, but you need to practice their own instrument, but also you have to learn to listen to others. Otherwise, you create a disharmonize. And so the practice is very important, that your own practice be good to yourself, but then also learn to be together, create such a great harmony. So each instrument is different, but yet we can create the great harmony. I think that's the good analogy that I feel. I always think, for interfaith harmony or interfaith respect, mutual respects. So with that, I just wanted to thank again for all the speakers and all the MCs and moderators, and for today's session. And also in the background of me, it says Hewa Peace Reconciliation Foundation of New York. This is one of the organizers. So I would like to next give to Pia, but before I go, I wanted to have just a short moment of silence as the Sicily did, but I think it'd be good to have also a little bell. So I'll ring like a 3 bell, and so maybe we can just do your own prayer. If you like, you can unmute yourself, and maybe we can just say your own prayer, like 1 minute. Anything that you like, your language, everything is fine. So maybe I can mute everyone. I don't know how does that work, but so yeah, unmute all, right? The ways that unmute all. I know mute all, I know, but I don't know how unmute all. Okay. So at least I ask unmute all, and so we will do the bell. And after the bell, then please do your own prayer in your own language. Just a 1 minute, okay? So are you ready? I hope you're ready. If you're ready, then raise your hand. Okay. Okay. Nanni shikudoku byodo sei saido hotsu bodai shin ojo anraku namu amidabu namu amidabu namu amidabu. Are you joining your own prayer? Okay, that's good. And thank you so much. Please do that now. Yeah. Thank you again. And so actually, as we said, this event itself is co-sponsors 3 main organizations, but then we do have a lot of help from all those speakers, organizations. Sorry, we didn't have much of a chance to list all of the people who may want to support this particular events. But at least just wanted to mention, next speaker is Pia, who is Dr. Pia Ratna. So he's from representing the International Buddhist Education Center. And I don't know whether the Venerable Gautama is here or not. I guess he couldn't make it.
Gautama was not here. He
Okay,
was
okay.
traveling and he has a traffic jam problem.
Still, I guess. So yeah, he's from the Sangakaya Buddhist, Sangakaya Foundation. So he's from an India monk who is doing a lot of great work for spreading the Dharma in India. So he's supposed to be the first speech for today, but because of the traffic in India, there are many some problems. So. But anyway, so I would like to thank all of the team that we create this particular conference. So thank you so much. Now, James, can you introduce Pierre now then? Let me show his bio.
Absolutely, I'll introduce him. You're going to put up his thing?
Yeah, that's what.
Hold on for a second. That's you. Hold on for a second.
Because I have to do everything here.
No, I know. No, that's fine. That's fine. I'm so happy to introduce Dr. Pia Ratna Maharajan. Dr. Maharajan is a General Secretary of International Buddhist Center, IBEC, and Nepal chapter. Is a social community development.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Things happen. He's a social community development and humanitarian worker based in Kathmandu, Nepal. He has extensive experience on youth development and international affairs. He is well recognized at both local and global at a glance, with having high-level connection back in his home country. He received the World Peace Award, World Humanitarian and Human Rights winner. Welcome, Dr. Maharajan.
Thank you very much, James, being wonderful moderator for today's program. And it has been a month-long efforts that finally today we're having wonderful speakers, panelists, and 2 good moderators who has been host this event, and the collective efforts of the Sangakaya Foundation, International Buddhist Education Center, and the Haiwa Foundation, New York. And we have been working this for the past month. And I brought this idea, why we don't have a celebrate this year's 2021 Interfaith Harmony Weeks. And Venerable Nagagaki has agreed, and with Bhante Ratnasil and myself representing International Buddhist Education Center. And that was the background of our 1 month efforts. And today is the very wonderful session that we have been celebrating this United Nations World Interfaith Harmony Weeks. Actually, in Nepal, yesterday we had that program physically, because the COVID-19 in Nepal is now safe. So we hold this Interfaith Harmony Week program at the college, Nobel Academic College. It was very wonderful, represented by all interfaiths community and leaders in Nepal, Kathmandu. So I'm very happy to be here, and like to thank all our speakers and also the moderator, James and Dr. Light, and also the Venerable Nakagaki from New York Haiwa Foundation for his wonderful and very hard working efforts that we took along that 1 month And today was the very wonderful session that we had, and hope that not only today we are having this one program sessions that we are continue to look forward to work together in different platform in global. As I said, I was the president of International Youth Society, having global platform, and with this capacity, I invited even the Jerushua, Sisley, Oleg, and many of our friends from around the world for representing to have this wonderful session. And especially the thanks goes to our music. Lula Leila is from Japan. It's very wonderful music that she has performed. Also at the beginning, we had the music from Brooklyn in the Dominal choir. That is Open My Mouth. That was very wonderful. Also the House of Love by Lula Leila. It was very wonderful. At the same time, we had another final music was choir, was healing. That heals so much our mind and body. And that special thanks goes to those musicians and music lovers. And we enjoy a lot of that. So especially our Gurujis from New York and also from India. And amidst all our the timing due to differences of time, New York and Kathmandu or Asia is quite different. We are here now, even avoiding dinner. We are having this session hosting at the same time at New York and United States, and they're having early morning breakfast. So again, thank you very much for all of our speakers, wonderful speakers who has, and hope that we will see you again. And thank you very much, all of you. See you again. Peace message from Kathmandu, Nepal, Asia, all of us, our friends, and all leaders, Gurujis, spiritual leaders, and community leaders. Thank you very much again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Now is 10:30, exactly the time that we say we're going to finish. So it was amazing. We have a great effort to work together. So thank you again. Have a great rest of the weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, everybody. Let there be peace and harmony on earth.
Yes, it's very beautiful.
Thank you for joining us today.